Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with a recap of Zatima Season 2, Episode 2, Guilt Trip. So what I forgot to tell y'all in the last episode was that Fatima basically told Zach, like, listen, I think you should talk to somebody because I feel like we're having sex too much and your testosterone is through the roof. They talk about how one day it was 6 times and the next day it was 4 times. Like, yeah, it was a little bit too much. So it continues off with, she talking about that. And she decided to say, she lets him know that, listen, I want you to have a side chick. And he was like, you for real? But, had I said that to you, you would have flipped the script. She was like, listen, I'll be right back. I'm about to go get it out the car. And yeah, she said she also feels as if, yeah, like I said, she's about to go to the car. So she go to the car, come back, and he was like, yeah, she better be fine, all this, that, this. He's like, oh, she comes back with a bag. And then she was like, oh, here's your gift. So she sits down on the couch. He opens the bag, and he was like, side chick pussy. Like, are you serious? She was like, yeah, I need a break because you be putting the hurting on her, and I can't. It's just too much. Like, it literally be too much. Like, listen, you can only take so much. Okay. So he's like, I'm not touching this. And she's adamant about, like, listen, it's not about the time. It's about, pacing yourself because, that could hurt. Too much of it at one time, of course, it can hurt. It could put a hurting on her. It could put a hurting on you. So it's all about pacing yourself, going at, a slow rhythm. You don't want to just jump, and then you be hurting. Gotta ease and go with the flow. So she's very adamant about, like, when they're going, when they taking their time away from each other, that, like, when you feel like you need the urge to do the side chick and stuff like that. So he starts reading the box, talk about feels like the real thing, add water. She said she advised him to go upstairs, take a cold shower, get some warm water, put it into the thing. And he was like, I'm not touching that. I was trying to push onto something else. And she wasn't going for it. So she's like, listen, I'll go touch it. So she gets the box, he goes away, and she's like, oh, it even squirts. And he was like, squirt what? And at the same time, me and Fatima said, water. Of course, like, what else was this supposed to squirt? But anyways, that was that. He also talks to Fatima about going to visit his mom and how his brother came to the shop, wanted to see him. She also got dinner and takeout. So she's like, yeah, I got 2 pussies. This one you can have right now, and this one you can, take with you all the time. Okay, so she goes warm up dinner, they at the table eating, and you can tell he is so sad at this point. He barely eats or whatever. And she says something to, she was like, you quiet. He was like, yeah. And then he gets up and leaves to go back to the couch. She gets up to leave to go to the couch, and they're talking about it again. And then she was like, I agree that you should go see your mom because, and he's like, why? Because she's just a fucked up person. I don't curse on my channel, so it's kind of feel weird when I do. But so he was like, she's a fucked up person. And she was like, well, she's probably going through some things. You should probably just go see her anyway because you never know. So he was like, I'm going to go see her just because you said. And she was like, thank you. I love you. He was like, I love you too, but don't be thanking me. Like, yeah. So Zach leaves. He goes to see his mom. And he sees his brother. And then there's a lady there, and he starts to walk past. She was like, where's Mom? And Jeremy was like, you don't see her? You basically walk right past her. She was like, oh, here. Hey, Mom. Hug her out. And she was like, I don't want nothing. And then Jeremiah and Zach tried to go into it for a little bit. And then the mother was like, listen, y'all need to chill out. You know, he went to jail for you. And Zach was like, yeah, I know. He will never let me forget it. And then he was like, we don't need you over here. I was like, and Zach was like, listen, you the one who called me over here, dummy. Like, for real, Jeremiah, you did call him over there. And come to find out, his mother, Gladys, she was like, no, I really want to see you. I told her that, so we really don't want nothing. And then within that same breath, she was like, can you help your brother get a truck? And he was like, for what? And she was like, because he's trying to start this little moving business. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And at this time, she also told him, like, they're about to get kicked out of this place, and that he got some space at his place for her to stay at. And Jeremiah was like, yeah, it's a big place. They might do. So Jeremiah steps off and walks this person drinking liquor, and he's sitting down, and then the guy gives Jeremiah some money, and then Jeremiah hands him a bag of stuff. And Zach was like, yeah, that's probably why y'all trying to get kicked out, because the stuff y'all doing. So basically, the mom was like, listen, I need some groceries since you got some money. And he was like, listen, I don't got a lot of money. And she was like, can I get some money to get some groceries? He was like, Zach was like, I'm not giving you no money. You either take the groceries or that, but I'm not giving you the money. And then she's like, all right, let's just go to the store. So Zach told Jeremiah that they was going to the store. So they get in the car and ride. And I guess throughout the time they talk or whatever. So they pull up to the store, and his mother was like, oh, this is a nice car. And Zach was like, yeah, I know you already told me a few times. So she wanted to go into the store by herself. And he was like, no, I'm not letting you go in there by yourself. And they was going back and forth fast. So she was like, just give me $100, mother effer. And he pulls out his wallet. She snatches his wallet out of his hand. And he's like, what are you doing? Give me my wallet back. And then he gives her the $100, and she gets ready to get out the car. And he was like, listen, I'm going in there with you too. So they both get out the car. In that same breath, like, dang, you really using this dude? Like, what kind of mother are you? But at that same time, I'm just like, not for nothing. I actually had my grandmother. She was like that towards my mom and her sisters. Well, her sister. There one that was in the lifestyle of Jeremiah, and then my mom was in like the lifestyle of Zach. So basically, my mom is Zach. Zach went on to do good things, stuff like that, and of course, you know, my aunt was down the line of doing stuff that Jeremiah did. So yeah, it's always like that's just what they stuck with. That's just what it. So I honestly could see how Zach is feeling and where he's coming from, because you know, I've actually experienced that in my own family. So yeah, I could definitely relate. So they get into the store, and his mother gets a shopping cart, and she's like, listen, I can go get the groceries myself. And he's still walking behind. Then at that same instance, he gets a phone call. It just so happens to be Zatima. So they're talking, and Zatima was like, hey, you still there? He was like, yeah, we at the grocery store. And up walks some girl named Connie, I guess somebody he used to mess with, and they start talking. And Zatima was like, oh, who's that? And he was like, oh, some dude I used to know. And she's like, oh, okay. And then he started to listen. Yeah, I want to talk to her later. I'm going to see how she's doing. I love you. And then I'll, whatever, the service is bad. And then he ends up hanging up the phone. So then Connie's talking to him. And she was like, starts talking about his dick. And Zach was feeling some type of way. He picked up some juices, and she was like, yeah, just juice and balls. Like, I've never felt this way. I've never had nobody, you know, have sex with me the way I did with you. And he's still like, yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go find my mom. And eventually, they go their separate ways. She asked for his number first, and he was like, nah, I'm about to get engaged. And he was like, oh, lucky girl, lucky her. Yeah, nobody ever made me feel that way but you. Yeah, so she was like, juice and balls. She was like, listen. He was like, listen, I gotta go for my mom. So he walks over with the two juices in his hands, turns around the corner, finds the empty shopping cart. He was like, he threw the juices in the car. He was like, damn, Gladys, like all over again. So, Fatima, she just finished getting out of a bath or whatever. So she's putting on some baby oil, and she gets a phone call from Angela. Angela and her talking about how their day went, about how, did Angela talk to Bryce, and basically Angela was like, no, I'm avoiding him. And how they'll talk about the guy that at the job, at the car, stuff like that. Fatima also lets Angela know that she was right about Zach not wanting to help her. And like, yeah, Angela, you was right. I got to do better with that. And then she sees and hears Zach pulled into the driveway. And she was like, listen, I'm going to call you back, girl. Zach went to see his mom, and he's just sitting in his car. So I'll talk to you later. So they go separate ways. Fatima goes downstairs to check on Zach, and she gets into the car. She was like, babe, what's happened? You all right? He was like, yeah, I'm just sitting here and stuff like that. So basically he talks about how when he was younger, his mom was never there, how she left him in the gas station, how she went to go give head to some trucker guy, I guess, to get score drugs or whatever. And he ended up finding her at the time. Before he found her, he was frantic, running through the store, asking where his mother is, stuff like that. And he ended up going to the back, and he sees her giving head to the guy. And he's calling her, and she's ignoring him. And this is like, well, dang. So now it replayed back to how he was in the store earlier with his mother, how she left him, like, and he's like, well, dang, she never really cared for me at all. And Fatima, she was at a loss for words, because it's just like she don't know how to like comfort him and combat at the same time. But she also agreed that he needs to talk to somebody, because all the things that he's been dealing with and going through, he might need a therapist to like help sort out his feelings and emotions, because it's a lot. Especially with him, with the baby mama drama, now with his mama, and then everybody's asking him for money, because where was you before when I was broke? Nowhere. I could see if they was reaching out to him when he was broke. But now that he came up and got this money in his house, y'all coming out of the woodwork. And it's crazy. That's how people are. Those type of people that that are your family and friends. Like, they're not there when you broke, but you want to be there when I'm rich. Nah, if you're not there when I'm down and out, don't be there when I'm successful. Like, no, make it make sense. I don't like people like that. That just shows who they truly are. So he decided he's just gonna sit there in the car for a few minutes, but he also asked Fatima, like, do you love me? And she was like, yeah, I love you. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not like your mom. And, you know, I'm going to be here. We can sit in this car as long as it takes. And he was like, nah, you got work in the morning. And that's when she said, yeah, I'm going to sit there as long as it takes. And, you know, she consoled him, gave him a hug. Like, this is honestly, like, the few times I've actually seen him cry. And, like, I really felt his pain, because I actually cried along with him watching it. I was just like, wow, I hate people that do this. Like, why bring children in the world to suffer? For what? Like, all they asked for was your love and attention. They ain't asked to be brought into this world. You brought them into this world by doing something you wasn't supposed to do, or doing something you wasn't ready to do. Like, if you knew you wasn't ready for a child, you should have kept your legs closed. On drugs or not, like, kept your legs closed or use protection. Like, I hate people who bring children into this world and then treat them like that, because it's like they grow up, even though they got all this hurt and pain on them, they grow up to be successful. They still want that love and attention from their parent, regardless of what they got going on, whether they're in a relationship or not. Like, it's always that feeling that you go through that you wish you had from your parent. Trust me, I know. I still want that love and affection from my father. I mean, he in the picture, but like, I still want that love and affection. So I honestly can see where Zach is coming from with that. It's just a lot. It's like, it's only so much you can handle. So, yeah, that was that. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. This one was a real one. Like, I actually enjoyed this episode, even though it was sad at the end, but I really enjoyed it. So, with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.